What a week this is shaping up to be. Just look at all these issues that have cropped up. The 60,000 Ghana cedi borehole saga that the PURC is currently embroiled in. We've had some curious things that politicians are also doing to win the elections, and a pastor debunking that Christians cannot call themselves Christians and still be poor as church mice. Plus, an explosive address against journalists paying for accreditation to cover this year's elections. And of course, today's JNI poll, the IGP John Kudalo has asked the police not to prevent eligible voters along the country's borders or those who live abroad from voting in the December 7 polls. Vote yes or no on our Facebook page. Welcome to JoyNews Interactive. On this show, it's your views that drive the program. So keep sending or start sending in your comments on WhatsApp 0560800000, and on Facebook and Twitter, it's JoyNews on TV and at JN Interactive GH. I'm Jennifer Ikwamwa, and we can get right into it. Now, the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission has come under fire for its justification of 300 million cedis for a 500 borehole project across the country. Now, there was a press conference held by the New Patriotic Party yesterday criticizing it, and there was also a response from the PURC head of communications. Let's take a look.
The issue of sole sourcing, where contract figures are often over-bloated, has been typical, particularly under the current NDC administration. Under normal circumstances, government contracts per the procurement law are supposed to be taken through open tender process and subjected to value for money audit before execution. But under John Mahama, this laid down procedure has always been shoved aside, and contracts awarded without recourse to due diligence. And these contracts, ladies and gentlemen, often go to friends and family members who often do not even have the requisite know-how to carry through with the job. This has resulted in instances where contracts have been awarded and abandoned midway. And because these awardees happen to be friends and family members of His Royal Highness John Dramani Mahama, no efforts are being made to hold them to account. You know of what happened to Sada. Monies, stolen away from our very noses. And today, as we speak, not one person has been brought to book because these are friends and family members of His Royal Highness John Dramani Mahama. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, I want you to just focus on one such contract by a public institution that is meant to regulate and give consumers protection. And you see the culture of impunity that has overwhelmed Ghana under Mahama. Just like I intimated earlier, now constructing a borehole, as a matter of fact, should not qualify as an emergency to be offered on a sole sourcing basis. Again, the price tag for a mechanized borehole, according to players in the industry, should not be more than 18,000 Ghana cedis, irrespective of the area or location. To drill a mechanized borehole ranges between 12,000 and 18,000 anywhere in Ghana on the open market. As a matter of fact, a company like Animax Drilling Company of Ghana quotes a mechanized borehole within the Greater Accra region at 14,000 Ghana cedis. And a maximum of 18,000 Ghana cedis is quoted for the same project in any part of the country, notwithstanding the location or soil or the makeup.
I will bring you the response from the PURC head of communications in a little bit, but as you can imagine, it's caused quite a stir on social media, as you can see right now. So that's 300 million Ghana cedis for 500 boreholes, which works out to about, you know, my math's not all that good, but it's looking quite a bit like 30,000 for just the one, rather 60,000 for just the one. So a couple of messages coming in here. Kojo writing, for how long are we going to sit for people in politics and other avenues to steal and misuse the national funds? We are tired of this corruption going on in Ghana. It's time we stand and force the judiciary to persecute these perpetrators. Now let's read also what you're saying about it on Facebook. Gilbert Kobana taking first spot this morning. Says, well, this woman is quite heartless. She is also corrupt. Justified the unwarranted electricity price increments as well. Continue stealing, you will not go scot-free, and your cane has been soaked in kerosene. So clearly Gilbert is so unimpressed. Prince David Berger, it's time of the year that all those who have in one way or the other have indulged in the wrong deals are popping up because they know the wrong they have done would soon be investigated. Yao Daniel Owusu says, corruption is a sin to the people, quoting President Mahama. Can someone please tell me what ministerial body the PURC falls under? Rafiq Adams, some public officials think that God will not ask them about the money they chop. Wait until the day they die. Sami Tuga Sem says, it's serious to hear that. Lord have mercy. See us, the young ones, to become successful and to avoid that type of amount. Francis Kwame Jr. Konu asking, what? This is pure corruption. We do boreholes and we are talking about 7 boreholes with all the accessories. Nana Curtis says, thieves in public offices, and some women are heartless nowadays. So that's really the trend of comments on Facebook right now. People asking all kinds of questions. What kind of borehole is that? Hashtag Africa, greed, corruption, and asking, really, what was the PURC thinking? Some more messages about that coming in also on WhatsApp. Nanaya Fosby says, look at how things are going in Ghana. There is no doubt that now we need a change. And okay, I think I've read that one already. Yes, on our JNI poll this morning, we're asking, do you agree with the IGP's assertion that people who live along the border and people who live abroad should not be prevented from voting in this year's election? Vote yes or no on our Facebook page. That's JoyNews on TV. Now, speaking of elections, we have just 13 days till the D-Day, and the campaign trail is heating up. We've spotted politicians being enstooled, singing in churches, and being prayed over by priests. But could this be the first time we are seeing politicians visiting the grave of a late member?
For the Ebuakwa North constituency, Gifty Chum Ampofo disclosed at a rally that the Akufo-Addo government, if God permits he win, will be women-centered in all spheres. She said there will be opportunity for women both in business, formal and informal sector, as well as the security. She called on all women and everyone who love women development to support Nana Addo Dankwa.
So this is what happened. The New Patriotic Party visited the grave of the late Ebuakwa North Member of Parliament, Honorable J.B. Dankwa Edu at Achim Kunkrintumi for support ahead of the December 7 polls. And they were followed by thousands of MPP faithfuls and sympathizers in that constituency, and they were led by the current Member of Parliament for Ebuakwa North, Honorable Gifty Chum Ampofo, and the Catholic Bishop at Kunkrintumi, who also visited the gravesite to pray for the late MP's soul and ask for his support in the world of the death. Okay, sounds a bit odd to me, but what do you think? Let's read from Facebook first. Mohammed Astro Damango says, well, that's good of them, but why didn't they visit the grave of Alhaji Aliu Mahama yesterday in Tamale and that of Chairman Adams 2 days ago in Bolga? Northerners and Southerners must be treated equally. Reindorf Osei says, indeed, we are wrestling against jokers and clowns. What if the ones who sent for his murder is an MPP supporter? And I hear someone said it's their belief. Isa Alidu says, so the soul of a man who was murdered is being prayed for support, and a Catholic bishop too has the guts to lead the prayer. Heavenly Father, forgive them. Osikenikweku says the man was murdered and these people are from his hometown. Okay. John Ananeyo also added your point of view. Arthur Phillips Arthur, for lack of knowledge my people perish, consulting the dead for political power. OMG, and it was led by a bishop. I think that's the part that kind of stuns everybody. What was a Catholic bishop doing there? To begin with. Charlie Stone says it's not their time because these people have done anything for the country. George Kofi says, oh, that's very pathetic, but may his soul rest in peace. Evans Amevo says, what of Aliu Mahama? And Kweku's Bake says, what of Jake Obechebi? And Jephthah says, those saying, what about Aliu Mahama? Okay, you two, what about Atam Mills? Leslie Bevas, no comment. And another one asking, but what of the late Aliu Mahama? So those are your points of views on that issue on Facebook. But on the borehole issue, Brown from Akim Mansu saying, hey, what kind of borehole are they constructing? And you're just wondering. Michael Amening, the PURC should stop defending the indefensible because the president and his government are just ripping off ordinary taxpayers' money. And that's your point of view. Elinam from Aflao says, why have we become extremists spiritually, consulting the dead for political power? My goodness, what has Ghana turned into? Keep sending us your views on WhatsApp and on Facebook. WhatsApp is 0560800000. Facebook, that's Joy News on TV. Now this morning, our JNI poll, we're asking you, do you agree with the IGP's position that the police should not prevent anybody who is, based abroad or who lives across the borders and is an eligible voter, should not prevent them from voting in 13 days when Ghana goes to the poll? Let us know. Vote yes or no. Keep on sending those in right now. Joy News Interactive takes a quick break and we'll be back with more. Thanks for staying with us. You're still watching Joy News Interactive. We're live on the Joy News channel on Multi TV, as well as on DSTV, GoTV, streaming on Facebook, and also streaming on YouTube on our YouTube channel. So really, wherever you go, wherever you turn and you look, Joy News Interactive is right there. So a couple of your messages coming in right now on some of the issues we've been looking at. Well, we looked at some of the MPP supporters and faithful visiting the grave of their slain member. That's the late Honorable J.B. Dankwa-Edu. We're also looking at the PURC and the 300 million for 500 boreholes, which works out to 60,000 Ghana cedis for one borehole. And that's also been stirring up controversy on social media. Now, Robert from Way just starts. It says, graveside, things are getting weird because of political power. On the PURC just wants to abuse money and are using boreholes to cover it up. Jerry Kwabnaminta says, it's heart-aching to see how our hard-earned money is being squandered haphazardly. All hope is not lost, though. Speaking of all hope not being lost, at a function recently, Kwame Sefakai of Peace FM fame told the EC and its stakeholders just how strongly opposed to journalists paying for accreditation to cover the December 7 polls. If you haven't watched it yet, here's an excerpt.
My problem with you, Electoral Commission, I think is shameful that you charge the media to cover the elections. We are not a very sincere people. We like to cover things up. It's just like state protocol asking journalists to pay money to cover the 6th March Independence anniversary. I don't think it's a very good thing you've done. Sadly, we won't talk about it. We'll push it under the carpet. But you're denying journalists the right to report the truth and situations as they happen to people. I don't think it's a smart thing to do. I don't know why, as a journalist or as part of the media here, we should pay money to cover elections that have to do with that. If you listen to our brother from South Sudan, if we're not careful, we will end up reporting disaster. Little things like what the Electoral Commission has done to us as journalists is what starts these small things. What is 10 CDs to you from a journalist? What is 20 CDs to you from a journalist? We've done it since 1992. Why are you charging us? Because you want us to pay for accreditation? What is accreditation? A piece of paper with our names and lamination, and we have to pay for it to cover elections that have to do with the future of this country? I'm not very happy as a media person. It's my opinion. You may disagree with me. I know you have a story. And then also, I'm very happy that the Nima police commander was here. Sir, it was right in your territory only a week ago. But you're here, you're telling us, and the police service is very prepared, and we are going to trap that. It happened in your backyard. What did you do? But you leave us journalists to report on these things. And all of us are afraid to speak up. Why? Let's speak truth to power all the time. If the police has a station at Nima, close to a flag bearer's house, and what happened, and the President of the Republic is blaming the police, and the police has said nothing, but they are assuring us that if anybody does anything wrong, we'll clamp down. You clamp down? It happened next door. You did nothing. You did nothing. If anything had happened, those of us here, most of us media people, would have been responsible for reporting it. And this person is bleeding, and this person has died, and this person has done that. And if we misreport it, then they come and blame us. Oh, the media is too sensational. Who causes the sensationalism? If state institutions will work the way they're supposed to, I'm sure that we would also do our work the way we're supposed to. So much as we appreciate, we acknowledge that what you're doing, Electoral Commission, the police, without the police we can't survive. But please, let's speak truth to power. Let's tell them that, listen, do your stuff, we'll do ours.
Clearly, he's not called the chairman for nothing. Your thoughts now. Start with what's up. Willie Boss from UCC. What the Electoral Commission is doing to the journalists and media houses in Ghana, it's not fair. It's never done anywhere. I'm highly disappointed with the EC, and Mrs. Charlotte Osei must do something about that. So that's Willie Boss starting things off. Sarah Ansel also saying, he said exactly what journalists are afraid to say. Kudos to KSK. Boateng Kenneth Dankwa says journalists pay for accreditation to make commentaries, especially on football matches. So if they have to pay 20 cedis to cover elections, it's okay. Isaac Kojo says the EC should come again. Sagrafito, okay, I hope I got that right. You must be accredited before announcing the results. It's the EC who is organizing the results. Benjamin Addo also saying it's on point. And I'm sure there's a couple more messages on Facebook as well on that issue. Okay, so that's it for Facebook. But Kojo saying, I like Kwame Sefakai. The media is a very important tool for a transparent exercise, for transparent election exercise, and the EC is not being fair to Ghanaians. We are watching. The media must be allowed to cover free of charge from A to Z of this election. The little money can't change anything. And Aaron from Dadieso says, why is the EC charging these fees? I don't think it's right. So thanks for sending in those views. We still have our JNI polls. We'll be looking at that shortly. We're asking you this morning if you agree with the IGP's position. He's saying that police service should allow eligible Ghanaians who live abroad or who live along the borders to vote without hindrance. So we ask you to vote yes or no. So we'll take a look at that right now. Legacy up here, you do not agree, so that's a no clearly. KP Rich, so that you don't agree with that, no. Edward Donko, that's also another no. Legacy has come back, still saying no. Emmanuel agreeing with his position, saying yes. Crude ITIA saying that no. And Tachi One saying no as well. Kweku Akpalu says no. Sana Mohammed, no. Banton, that's a yes from you. Boateng Kenneth, yes. Jonah, okay, you still have some questions about that. Conscious Man, yes. Skyfall, you're not sure about the issue. Eboba tells you agree. Samuel Owusu, you don't agree. And Elliot, you also do not agree either. Emmanuel, you're saying only they're eligible. Why not? So you agree. Isaka, you agree with it. Theodore, you also agree. But Idris, you say no, and so does Nana, Kwame Nyame, and Winfred. You are finishing off with a yes. So thank you for sending us your points of views this morning. We're very grateful, and we'll definitely come back to you later with the story of the pastor who says that Christians should not be poor as church mice, perhaps later on JNI this evening. Well, it's been a great half hour with you this morning. Thank you for your time, your comments, and all your points of views on the show. But do stay on the Joy News channel for more great programs.